So, at nearly 6 years old, I remember the feeling of the living room carpet under me as I sat in front of a monitor displaying Barack Obama's determined face during the 2012 presidential election debates. As the smell of a dinner in progress wafted in from the kitchen, the computer speaker slightly warbled his voice. My father leaned on the table behind me and nodded with a firm look of conviction. My eyes concentrated on Obama's face and noticed that with every word he uttered, he did it with grace and an overbearing belief that instilled confidence in me. As the voice called me to join them for dinner, I reluctantly pulled myself from my spot in front of the TV, eyes still stuck on the screen. Leaving the room, I still remember feeling a thick aura of hope hanging around the TV. From that point forward, politics and government have been an integral part of my life. For as long as I can remember, it has been a family tradition to sit over steaming hot food at the dinner table and hear my parents and siblings, and when I got older, even me, debate and discuss what was happening in the world. At first, I was scared that I might say something wrong, but grew to learn that conflict is a part of life that helps us learn. Sometimes we would argue loudly at a divided table, but that was all part of another lessons that my parents taught me, that passion was a good thing, especially in politics. Day after day at that dinner table, I would gather little bits of information that would help me realize what was most important to me as an American, a Muslim, a woman, and a human. Being a part of a politically aware family, I have always known that the 2024 election would be the first that I would be eligible to vote in. However, the weight of that decision only dawned on me recently, a few months before I will it, in, inevitably cast my ballot. My parents and communities always instill in me a knowledge that contributing to society through civic and political engagement is the best way to be a good American, and the epitome of that is voting. As a young kid, seeing the colorful red, white, and blue I voted stickers that came with my parents' ballots, I eagerly looked forward to earning one of my own. Now that the election is quickly approaching, the significance of this right is emotionally overwhelming, particularly with constant political conflicts around the United States and the world. However, and even more so, I'm inspired by people like Ida B. Wells and Martin Luther King Jr., and I recognize and believe in the immense opportunity that voting gives to our hope-ingrained republic. Besides at home, my social studies classes have been one of the most instrumental places I have learned about and the importance and privilege of voting. These classes allowed me to look at the current world from a historical perspective to gain a deeper understanding of our people, our systems, why they exist, and why any of these matter. Last year, one of the most influential ways I learned to see the current events through the eyes of history was in my American government class. My teacher explained to my class the importance of voting through the eyes of those who dedicated their lives to gaining the right to vote and tried to put us in their shoes. He impressed upon us the fact that if we had been alive before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, a majority of us would not have been allowed to vote. After giving us a moment to think about this, he asked why any of us would be unwilling to vote when we all have that right. Still, it is hard to feel like voting is having all the world's power while also having none. Being just one person in a country with millions can be intimidating and make you question the importance of just one vote. However, just because you can't cast one vote doesn't mean your vote. Oh, wait, I said that wrong. However, just because you cast one vote doesn't mean your vote is insignificant. In close elections, local or national, one vote can make the difference in electing an individual who's fit to serve the people and one who is not. I know that when I vote, even if the outcome is not what I want, I made the decision to let my voice be heard and that is what voting is all about. I often feel lost between frustration and worry about how our current government functions and where it's headed. However, there is always a possibility of a better word fueled by the fundamentals of democracy, which at its core is voting. Voting is not only a vehicle of hope, but also a tool to empower our society. Of all the emotions I have around voting for my first time, the most prevalent is feeling that I can make a difference in my own country. Most of all, I want to embrace this feeling and celebrate the freedom to vote in order to work towards creating a better future on November 5th, along with my fellow Americans. I hope that every eligible young adult joins me in voting and embraces the opportunity to shape this country to uphold the values we hold dear.